What is the crack, everyone? B2B Sports, we are back. Sam is here,
As
as
always.
always, standard procedure. Um, this week, we're going to start it off with F1 this week because it is Bahrain testing this weekend, and then the following weekend is the start of the new F1 season. We did this last year. We ranked the cars from last 10th to first, um,
Yeah.
with some interesting results last year. And we're going to do the same again this year. I have no idea what Sam's got.
Yeah. I think I've got a good gauge, I think, of what I like and what I think is just okay.
Okay, all right, let's get started. So I think the worst looking. This is purely based on looks, by the way, like nothing else.
Yeah.
Um, the worst one for me is the AlphaTauri.
Really?
I'm disappointed. Last year it was my number one. This year it's had a fall from grace. It's number 10. I don't like it. I don't know why they've added red to it. They've dulled the colour. It's gone more grey.
I
Um,
quite like the matte.
do you? Do you like it?
Yeah.
I'm a little bit disappointed, to be honest with them. And also I watched in anticipation their car reveal, and it was literally like a 30-second video, and that was it. Like no, none of them spoke or nothing. It was like literally just like a 30-second bit of them showing the car. Yeah, I'm heavily disappointed. Nothing's changed, and it's just they've just added a red to it. Yeah, disappointed. I like AlphaTauri, but very disappointed.
I don't think it's the worst. I think it's near the back end, definitely.
Mhm.
I don't think it's the worst. The worst for me, it might ruffle some feathers, is the Red Bull. Just in
Okay.
terms, as it looks no different. And I ranked it quite
Yeah.
highly last year, and I think it's a nice car, but I just think it's a bit boring. I think they could have done something nice with it, something different. Some of their special liveries from last year were awesome.
Yeah, that was good.
So there's so much they could do, but they've done nothing. So I'm just a bit disappointed in them.
They've gone for the if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But
Yeah,
they've changed absolutely nothing really, other than a few sponsors. But yeah, disappointing.
very much.
Um, ninth place for me. Not really any surprise if you listen to last year. McLaren.
Yeah,
McLaren.
I've actually gone for the same.
Wow, okay, both ninth. Why? Why? Why do
Yeah,
you think? Why do you think?
I mean, I'm an avid orange fan. Um, the orange and black I like. It's just too much going on. I think.
Mhm.
I think with the Chrome logos as well, it's just too many colors.
Yeah, there is a lot
Um,
going on
I like the addition of the black. I think it makes it look a bit more sleek, but there's still just a bit too much going on.
there. Yeah, and for me, it's orange.
Yeah,
I said
exactly.
it last year.
I'm literally wearing
Orange.
orange right now, so this is great.
Get in the bins. No, but orange, yeah, not for me. And again, similar to what Sam said, there's a lot going on. Like the chrome tire, yeah, it just all jumbled together for
Hmm.
me. Eighth place, similar to Sam, is Red Bull. Um, very samey, nothing's changed. In terms of the car, I can't really say much else than what we said last year. So,
Yeah. I think the Alpine is next for me.
okay, right.
I just think again it's quite boring. Um, I feel like I don't understand why like all these F1 teams can come up with these special liveries and then just go back to the same one they've always had, and it's just and the one thing I do like is the different colors on the wheels. So there's a blue at the front, there's a pink at the
Mhm.
back.
Yeah, that's
I think
true.
it's quite cool. I think most of the cars from the here on out I actually like,
Yeah.
but so they're quite close. But yeah, this one is okay. It's passable for me.
What do you think of their pink special livery? I think they're racing with that on the first like couple races of the season. It's
Is it
pretty
similar
much,
to what they did last year?
yeah,
I don't mind. I quite like that. I quite
yeah.
like the all pink. I always like the all pink from the old days. I think they were quite cool. So
Seventh place for me is Haas. I liked Haas last year. I think it was quite sleek. I like the old simple minimalistic look, but maybe it's the way they promoted the car. It just looks like a old classic mint sweet. I don't know. They've got it. The photo of here, I've got it. They've got it behind a black and white back striped background as well, which doesn't help itself. But yeah, it's not too bad. You know, they have changed it up a little bit, but yeah, not enough for me to get any higher up than that.
For me, I think I've got AlphaTauri next.
Okay.
I don't know if it's better than last year. I like the red that's been added on. I think that the AlphaTauri logo with the blue and then into a little bit of white looks quite cool. So yeah, I quite like this one.
Next up, sixth place, Aston Martin for me.
Yeah, same.
Aston Martin, um, we both liked it last year. We actually agreed on one car last year, and it was that mint green color. But there's not been a lot else. Like I do still like the mint green, but there's not been.
I think it is just the color that's putting it there for me.
Yeah, exactly.
Um, I just like the Aston Martin color. It's a good green, and it will always look cool.
Yeah, it will. Fifth place, Alpine for me. My opinion changed on this car. I thought that the added black looked a
Yeah.
little bit strange at first, but I think it looks quite cool now. And although you wouldn't say on paper those three colors go pink, blue, and black, I'm looking at it and I'm starting to change my opinion. Yeah, and it's that matte. They're going for that whole stripped carbon look, aren't they?
Mm.
Mainly probably to reduce some weight on the car, but yeah, I do kind of like that look on the Alpine. So that's my fifth place.
There's I've got Ferrari in fifth. Um, I don't think it's as good as last year. I think the added black bits look a bit odd. They're kind of like boxed off, and it's not quite all as sleek. But yeah, the red is just you can't go wrong. The
Classic.
red and black that they have is just too good. Um, the Santander and the Shell logo
Can't beat it.
show on top. So
Fourth place for me, follow suit. Ferrari. Yeah, I do like it. Again, we've said it before, they're kind of restricted what they can do. They have added some black splodges, which I don't mind, to be fair. What I do like is the Ferrari um, logo on the rear wing. I love that.
mm,
But yeah, nice looking car. Probably what stopped them from going higher is what they're limited to do in that Ferrari. But yeah, I
yeah,
do like it.
I've got Williams in fourth. Lovely Williams. I think that it's definitely an improvement on last year. Quite a lot of black going on for the side pods. But that Duracell battery logo. I mean, it was on one of the cars last year, but now they've added it in as their staple. I think that's just it's good going.
Third for me, again, I'm going to follow suit. Williams is my third ranked car. Probably most improved from last year as well. I didn't like their whole geometric like triangle theme last year. But yeah, it looks a really nice color blue. Added some darker colors in there, and then the Duracell battery. I think that's just genius marketing, to be honest. Like whoever signed that off, it's just props to you.
There's my third is the Mercedes is in
Third
third place.
place.
Third place, Mercedes. I think going back to the black is great. It's just a naughty looking car. It's something we've seen before, obviously with their older cars. I'm glad they've gone back to it this one. I'm not a big fan of the side pods and that swoop. For some reason, it just doesn't look right to me. But yeah, it's a very solid new car, and I do like the green and the black, and but it's going to
There,
go for as good as that,
that's a big
especially
shout.
you're like rimming that car. So
Yeah. Number two, Alfa Romeo for me. Again, I love what they've done this year. Gone red and black. Even the driver's suits, they go black and red as well for the suits. I think it looks a proper clean car, a proper racing car. That looks like is proper
mm,
decent. They've even got the little Italian flag on the bottom of the rear wing, which I love. I love that touch as well. But yeah, proper impressed with Alfa Romeo. It probably looks like a proper mean F1 car that does.
there's my number two, gone for Haas.
Haas, wow,
Haas.
up
I
there.
just think that from the side, it just looks like a car that I would have drawn as a kid. It
Yeah.
looks just the perfect that line. The black looks good. The Haas logo looks good. The Palm Angels logos looks good. The red and the black and the white, just nice clean cut. yeah, I've got no problems with that car.
Yeah.
And I just hope that Magnussen or Hulkenberg can drive it as well as it should be driven.
Whether Hulkenberg can actually get on the podium or not is another
Who
question.
knows? Who knows?
And then drum roll, my number one is, of course, that Mercedes. They were teasing it whether they were going to go back to black, and they actually have done it, and it looks, in my opinion, it actually looks incredible. Especially with the drivers' numbers on there. I think Lewis has gone for his luminous yellow, and George has gone for quite a bright green color. Yeah, to me, it just looks incredible. By far the best looking car on the grid. That
Definitely.
sleek, minimalistic look, but yeah, it just looks so good. Hopefully, it can replicate what they achieved before in the black car, and there'll be no porpoising, but we shall see.
Well,
Um,
they seem to have gone for a similar to strategy as last year at the beginning.
yeah,
They're
yeah.
basically doing the same thing again. So there may well be porpoising. uh, but the actual number one car on the grid is that Alfa Romeo. Like that is just sex on wheels. That I don't know what else you can say about it. Like the wheels look sick. I don't know what they've done there, but it just looks awesome. The cut from the red to the black, the Alfa Romeo logo. Just you can't do anything wrong. The stake logo is a bit iffy, obviously but that's just their logo.
Yeah,
And the font of it, you can't really do much about that. But yeah, I think yeah, just it just looks so good.
it
I hope
does.
that does well this year because it will look so good doing so well.
It will, yeah, to be fair, I agree. That Alfa Romeo is my second, and yeah, you can't really complain. That does look like a proper decent F1 car this year. But yeah, that's our rankings. We'll dive into some predictions or just some general chat about how we think the upcoming season is going to go. Who do you think is going to win it? Do you think Red Bull are going to replicate what they did last year, or do you think it's going to become a lot closer in the field this year?
I don't know. See, really annoyingly, I think George Russell is going to do really well, and I just hate how he started to drive in a Mercedes.
Why'd you hate him so much? What's wrong with him?
He's just become a massive dick driving. He'll drive into anyone and then blame them for it. Like you can understand it when he was in a Williams and like he was hitting Bottas and that was kind of they're both having to go at each other. It was in a slower car, but I was in like one of the fastest cars on the grid, and he was consistently last year just not turning into a corner, not
Yeah.
giving any space. Mostly Perez. Um, yeah, so I hope he drives better this year. I'd like to see. I think Max is going to do bits again.
You think he'll win? You gonna predict it? Number three for Max Verstappen.
No, I'm going to go for an eighth for Hamilton,
Wow, you're gonna go for an eighth, are you? Okay.
but and a retirement after it.
Yeah, I can see that. That's what I
Uh,
hope. That's what I hope happens. Uh,
yeah,
I do hope that it becomes a lot closer this year. Because if you look at it on paper, Red Bull just absolutely ran away with it last year. I
yeah,
think they won like 19 out of the 22 races last year or something like that.
yeah. We've got
Ridiculous.
record like points hauls for Verstappen, and yeah, it was they just dominated.
Do you think Ferrari are gonna come back this year? They're gonna compete without much, clown behavior on their part in the
Oh,
engine.
I don't think they're unless they get change their whole staff, um, except the drivers. The drivers are great, but yeah, the staff needs something done about it because the decisions made last year were just laughable. And the fact that it went on all season, it wasn't like two or three races. It was one race after another where you're like, why did you do that?
Yeah, it's
So
just
yeah, not a fan.
I've got some teammate battles. I basically stole this idea from the P1 podcast of Matt and Tommy. I've got some teammate battles. I'm just going to ask you quick fire questions on who do you think is going to do better out of which driver, who's going to get the more points essentially.
Sure.
So Hulkenberg or Magnussen, who do you think is going to be the better driver
Magnussen.
this year? Magnussen. Hamilton or George Russell?
Hamilton. If I'm going to say he's going to win, he's
Yeah,
going to
you
have to
got
get more
it.
points. So.
Sonoda or Nick DeFries. This is a tough one. in the
Oh, I think Nick De Vries in his first year
wow, you think
is going to
he's
pull
gonna
some bits out the bag.
Carlos Sainz or Charles Leclerc?
Leclerc.
Leclerc. And then finally, and I think this is going to be a tasty battle, Gasly or Ocon in that Alpine.
Ocon.
Ocon.
Yeah, I think
Ocon is
Ocon's got a
severely
Bahrain too.
underrated as well.
Yeah.
He's severely underrated. I do like Gasly though. They've had a bit of beef, haven't they, in the past with their karting
Mm.
careers and stuff. So that'll be interesting to see what happens. But yeah, Drive Survive is out this Friday as well. So keep your eyes
Yes.
peeled for that. I don't know if you saw, but Bottas is bringing out a helmet specifically for the Bahrain testing period. I don't know why this is a thing. Why not? But the helmet is inspired by his current style of haircut. So
He's got a mullet, hasn't he?
he's got a mullet and a tash. That is his helmet. You have to look it up. He's absolutely hilarious. Again, whoever created that, genius.
Nice.
He's
That
actually
is that
he's,
is epic.
he's actually genius. With the mullet at the back, he's got his tash on the front. Oh, it's genius.
Designed by Tiffany Cromwell.
Tiffany, that's his girlfriend, I think.
Oh, Vez.
Yeah, there you go. So yeah, testing is this weekend. I think McLaren are being quite secretive on what is going on. I think they've blurred the bottom of their car in recent photos and videos, so they don't want anyone to see what they've done with the floor. And yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens. I think Max Verstappen, it's been rumored that he's going to pay nearly $1 million for his license to race in the F1 this season. I didn't realize this is how it works, but the better you do, the
The
more you
more you
have
have
to
to
pay.
pay. Yeah.
So obviously the newcomers, the rookies into the F1 world this year, they would have to pay the absolute minimum. But the better
Mm.
you do, the more you have to pay. And then it's here that the FIA have collected $26.7 million from all the drivers together and teams for the upcoming season, just raking it in, raking it in. It's a
That's
weird
good.
concept, isn't it? Because in football, like you wouldn't expect a footballer to pay to do their sport. Like it's just weird.
No. Yeah, it is at that like a high level. Obviously, like lower down, like racing, you kind of have to support yourself and have your own car and stuff. But in something that big, you think they just do it for
Yeah,
you.
it's strange. It's strange. But yeah, that's F1 wrapped up. We'll move on to some football. We'll cover a bit of the Champions League because Liverpool. Oh
Jesus
my,
Christ.
Liverpool, Jesus, 2-0 up in Dreamland and concede five.
I mean, nothing gave me greater joy than all the videos coming out of like people watching along and absolutely loving the first two goals, and then just looking more and more just like disjointed. Every single goal that went in, it was delightful. Had a
Honestly,
lovely time.
what happened? What on earth happened? I mean, firstly, Courtois for that second Liverpool goal. What on earth was that? I think
Yeah,
we passed the Chelsea cursed over to him as well in a
yeah.
minute. Um, but yeah, Benzema, Modric, Vinicius Jr. really just turned
Still
up.
shocking. I think well, it was ever since they scored their second goal, Liverpool were shocking.
Mm.
Like Allison had another shocker.
Yeah, just
Um,
passed it out to him, didn't
yeah, he literally kicked it at him. People were saying like Joe Gomez sold him a dream, but it was a decent pass back to the keeper. I don't know why he just didn't leather it. So yeah, and to be fair, the rest of the goals are pretty nice. Finishes first goal was nice. The Militao header, like just nobody was marking him,
he?
everyone stood still. The Joe Gomez one was obviously unlucky. The deflection's always unlucky. I still don't understand how it was a Joe Gomez own
No,
goal.
I didn't
Pretty
get
sure it
it.
was going in. So I felt that a bit harsh to be an own goal. And the last one, Benzema just being Benzema.
Benzema's just an absolute boy. I got a mad stat here. Since 2014, Liverpool have lost to Madrid six times and only drew once and winning zero. Like that's mad.
That's just a shit.
What has happened to that Liverpool defence though? Because not so long ago, 2 seasons ago, people were claiming that Van Dijk was the best defender
Don't do it.
maybe ever in the Premier
Yeah.
League. People were putting him up there with John Terry, Rio Ferdinand, and Vidic and
I
co.
think people are just realizing that. it was all just a fraud. Like even like and how much Mane was the soul of their team. Um, but honestly, you just don't get it. I don't get it how they can be this bad this season.
It's what happens when you've run your midfield into the ground and let go players
Mm.
like Wijnaldum, and you've got players that like Henderson and Milner who are getting on a bit now, and you haven't got the legs in that midfield, and your defense is getting found out for it. Maybe that they work so hard. That's the reason why Liverpool's defense was so good in the like a few seasons ago.
Yeah, no, true. Yeah, they're all getting found out. Trent's getting found out. You've got Van Dijk getting found out. Robertson's still playing pretty well. But yeah, it's Liverpool, just a shadow of the team they used to be.
All three English teams lost their um
Yep,
first leg, apart from City who are playing now.
they're
Um,
winning one now at the moment.
well, they win 1-0.
Yeah.
So yeah, the English Super League. Then there's a lot of talk about England are buying the league and they're having the best league. But if you look at it on that aspect, then they're doing so well at the minute.
Well, I
So
mean, the teams that are in the Champions League this year and have qualified aren't aren't doing great in the league, to be
I
fair,
thought
are
you'd
they?
pipe up at that comment.
I mean, you might as well get Brighton in there at this rate.
Let's talk about teams that aren't doing well.
Were you 10th?
We're 10th, mate. Should we actually delve into Chelsea? What is going on at Chelsea? And will Potter get the sack? Do you think he's going to
Well,
get the sack?
apparently Pochettino has turned down the opportunity to go back.
This
So they're looking.
this is what frustrates me. Yeah, how can you have people saying, well, the owners saying we're fully backing Potter,
Yeah.
regardless of the results, even after the shit show at the weekend, we're still backing Potter. But then you've got reports saying they're after Poch and Poch has turned him down. So clearly you're not fully backing him if you're looking at other managers. You can't fully back someone if you're asking around. It doesn't make
No,
sense.
exactly. So I don't get it. I don't get it why how you can buy a coach halfway through a season and results still aren't going your way and just blame it all on the coach. Like you obviously sacked somebody for a reason. It's not going to be an overnight change. Like I don't understand. I mean, what team can you say is they've brought in a new manager and they've done insanely well straight away?
And it's not only the manager, Sam, it's the players. We've brought in a whole new team. Like
Yeah,
it takes time for them to gel.
yeah.
Um, I
So
think
I
the
think
problem.
it's Graham Potter's been hard done by because
I think
he's a decent manager.
he's a decent
Um,
manager. And look at Arteta last season or the year before. Like he was rock bottom within the
if
first.
Arteta like he should have been sacked before Christmas with that
Yeah,
record
100%, 100%.
easily. And now look at them, like could very much potentially win the league.
Yeah, flying. So I do think give Potter time. It's horrible to watch though. There's not any energy. There's not a leader on that pitch right now for Chelsea, and it is terrible to watch. I can't lie,
Yeah,
but you have to give him time. You have to. We can't. Football's become so fickle at the minute. Like in like people just wanting results now. Like it's just society as a whole right now, isn't it? Like they
it's not
can't
built
wait
it.
for anything.
No,
Um,
um,
yeah.
it's sad. I mean, obviously, your 10th, you've got zero goal difference. Like the
We've
fact that you've only scored 23 goals like, in
it's
the
terrible.
league, like, you've it's almost the bottom. The lowest amount of goals scored is 17, and you scored 23.
We've won 2 games out of 15, Sam. 2 games out of 15. Do you know how much how bad that is? That's like
So,
relegation form.
yeah, I
But
mean,
yeah,
technically, like you have Southampton are obviously last, but in the last 5 games have 6 points. You
new
in your last 5 games have had 6 points.
new manager bounce for Southampton as well at the weekend. That's what I'm blaming it on. That's what I can hope for.
When's your new manager bounce coming in?
We're still waiting for it. We're still.
Yeah. No, it's not quite bouncing just yet. We'll get there.
Yeah, we'll get there. Come on. Still on the topic of Chelsea, we are only 1-0 down against Dortmund. Um,
Yeah.
that also touching that goal. Did you see that goal from that Dortmund player? He's rapid as well. Absolutely mugged off Enzo and took it round Kepa. Great goal. I think he's out now for injury though. I think he got injured in the league game for Dortmund.
Uh,
But yeah, he's still on a knife edge. But if we don't buck up our ideas, we're going to get beat or not get the result good enough to go through.
yeah.
Um, just shout out the Dortmund fans. Their stadium is madness.
So good.
It's
A
so
lot,
good.
a lot of German football like stadiums, their fans are just ridiculous.
Makes English league look terrible. Can't have a bit of football at the minute without talking about United because United are flying, and one player in particular, Marcus Rashford, mate.
Marcus Rashford, you can't do anything without him. Like he's scoring in every game. He's
Unreal.
probably the most informed player in the league right now.
Yeah, I'd say that. Yeah, I'd say so. Maybe even Europe, mate, pushing it. Like,
Possibly.
him and Victor
Um,
Osimhen are doing pretty well at the minute. But
God, yeah. There's nothing he's not doing right now, and it's good to see after he had a tough start to the season, having Ronaldo there and not really playing great, looking a bit dejected, and it's just like a resurgence. Um, yeah, it's I think the whole team is playing really well.
what?
Uh,
Why do you think he's doing so well? Do you think like Big Wout like helps him a little bit because
yeah, well, I was reading something about Big Wow, and obviously he's not done much as a forward. But he does a lot of other stuff around the pitch.
Mhm.
He does a lot of defense and tracking back, closing down, um, and kind of rushing the other team into getting balls off, which gets the ball back to us. So he's doing a lot off the ball that possibly just wasn't being done.
Yeah.
And the fact that we've got like Sancho and Rashford who can have the pace up front, he can afford to sit back and close these guys down as kind of an extra CDM, but
Hmm.
front. Um, So I think Woutsu he definitely deserves to be there.
Yeah.
Probably quite a good purchase in that sense. He's not going to get us tons of goals, but he has a great work rate.
It's very
Uh,
true.
so yeah, I think it's just exciting to see. I'm happy we're third in the league. We're 5 points off Arsenal,
Matt,
3 points off City.
it's actually
Um,
crazy. I love it, to be fair.
it's uh, it's just good to see we're 7 points in front of Spurs. Good. Life's good at the moment. We've got a few tough games coming up. We've got our second leg against Barcelona tomorrow.
Oh, yeah.
After a great game
2-all
uh,
one.
at the
Great.
Camp Nou, 2-2. What a game! But two away goals, and which is pretty decent.
Yeah. Take that.
Um, we've got the EFL Cup final on Sunday.
Wow. They got some big games coming up, didn't you?
Yeah, cup final on Sunday. No
Without,
Nick Pope, Loris
without
Karius, Loris Karius in goal because Dubravka is played for us early in the season.
That is jokes, mate. What are
Um,
the chances?
I know. And we got West Ham and then Liverpool. So, and then we got Southampton, who are technically obviously last at the moment, but then we got Brighton and Newcastle 2 games in a row.
Mhm.
Um, 22nd of April, United Chelsea.
Mate, we already know what's going to happen in that game. It's going to be a standard crack, 0-0 draw.
It's gonna be awful. I think I'm on call on the 22nd of April, so that's great. I'm also working.
Gutted, mate.
Um,
You're not going to miss a lot, so it's all right.
no, true. But we got Chelsea then Spurs 2 games in a row.
Mm,
But our end to the season's relatively nice. We've got Villa, West Ham, Wolves, Bournemouth, and Fulham. The last 5 games of the
take that.
season. So
Take
that's a
that.
good 5 games to
Yeah.
end the season on. So yeah, I can do with that.
What do you make of the rumors of a potential takeover? I know a big Saudi owner is looking in there. I think where the Glazers selling up this summer. Is that what the plan is?
I think, to be fair, I think it's some Saudi billionaires and the only person who they're going to sell to because they're the only people who are going to spend as much money as the Glazers want them to spend on it.
Pay off their debts.
Um, exactly. So I can see it happening. Um, I don't mind at the end of the day. Obviously, there's all the human rights stuff about the Saudi Arabia. Um, they've done it with Fulham. They've done it with City. We can say obviously City have bought their titles. I mean, that obviously with all the investigations into them, they may have done. But there's still a way you can be owned by billionaires and do it fairly.
Yeah, yeah.
So I'm obviously still want the Glazers out. I think the club's in better hands with Ten Hag and not having Ed Woodward anyway. I'd quite like was it the Ratcliffe or some
Yeah,
English billionaires, but also Bayern.
Jim Radcliffe. Yeah, Radcliffe.
I still take that over Saudi Arabians.
Mhm.
Who knows?
Who knows, mate? It'll be
It's
just
it's one of the biggest clubs in the world and who generate probably the most amount of
a
money,
lot of money. Yeah, a
a lot of
lot.
money. So I can see it going for a shit ton of money. So yeah,
It'll just be
be good.
interesting. It'll be interesting to see what Man United will be like under new ownership. It'll be very
Mm,
interesting because the Glazers have got a lot of questions to answer for, that's for sure.
yeah,
To wrap up football, we'll quickly talk about FPL. Any
yeah,
FPL updates for you, Sam? How you doing in our league at the minute?
not too bad. I mean, this week's a bit difficult. Obviously, there's a lot of blanks this game week
Yes, there is.
coming. So in my team, I have three players who aren't playing, and also everyone on my bench isn't playing.
You're gonna
But
master it. You got any
but
chips?
four of my players have double game weeks.
Okay, yeah, that's
So
not too bad. Who
not
are
it's
you
not
gonna
too bad for a game where I couldn't use any like wild card or anything like that. So
who are you gonna captain this week?
Saka,
Saka. Got to be done.
I think so.
I've got quite lucky in this aspect. I made my free transfer. I took out Nick Pope for obvious reasons,
Yeah, same.
and put Allison in.
Me
So,
too.
did you?
Yeah,
Um, but with that free transfer, I've got now a full 11 playing. Um, all of my bench are having blanks, but I've got a full 11 playing. And I've
perfect.
got three. No, I've got four on double game weeks. I've got two Arsenal. I've got Tarkovsky for Everton, and I've got Allison. But other than that,
Yeah,
everyone is
that's quite good. You're only 25 points away from me,
yeah. He's gonna get a squeaky bum, mate. He's gonna get
which is
free.
really annoying. I'm only 9 points away from Ben, um, and I think Luke is 22 points away from you. It's so close.
So close. It's such a good league this year. And I had a proper good week last week. That's what got me back up there again.
Yeah,
But yeah, captain is crucial. Captain
yeah.
is crucial.
I think
I've
so. The last two game weeks though, I've my bench has scored a lot of points.
yeah,
Like last week, I would have scored so many points off my bench. I had Ward-Prowse and Alexander Arnold, and that's 22 points just gone.
that's
Um,
brutal.
brutal. The week before, I had Ivan Toney, who had scored 9. I had Kane the week before, who scored 8. Like my bench isn't choices. I've had that Solly March when he scored and assisted in everything, so he had 19 points just to himself.
Have
So
you
yeah,
played the bench boost, Chip?
no, I've still got that.
Because that's what was happening to me. A lot of the players on my bench were like contributing quite a lot. I think like Tim Ream was getting like 6 points most games, and like
Yeah,
Andreas was getting a few points here and there. And then so I played bench boost last match week, and
yeah,
yeah, that chipped in with like nearly an extra 20 points. So that's what
yeah.
done me right
I've
there.
still got that as my last one to play. Um, and I need to play it wisely.
I've got one wild card left, and that's it.
Still got a wild card. How do you find out if you have a wild card? Where does it say?
So if you go on transfers, it says at the top, free transfers, I've got zero, and then a wild card, it says available for me.
Oh, fair. Mine is played.
There you go.
That's
Not getting out that one, Sam.
nope. No, I'll take it.
Yeah, this is going to be a bit of a big week in terms of people blanking and stuff. So NFL, we haven't recorded since the Super Bowl, so I'll quickly just go through what happened. The Chiefs beat the Eagles in a pretty incredible game, to be honest, wasn't it, Sam?
Yeah, it was a mental game.
Pretty incredible. We watched it on FaceTime, and yeah, it was just scenes, proper high scoring. Went down to the final minute on a iffy call. And yeah, it was incredible game. Patrick Mahomes and Jalen Hurts both stepped up, both had decent games, both had amazing stats. But yeah, the
Yeah,
Chiefs just got it done in the end when it came down to it. And yeah, Patrick Mahomes has done it again. And I saw this stat. I saw this photo comparing Tom Brady and Patrick Mahomes at the age of 27.
Yeah.
So Brady had 0 MVPs. Patrick Mahomes has 2.
Yep.
Brady had 2 Pro Bowls. Patrick Mahomes had 5. Well,
Yeah.
has 5.
It's all about the rings.
It's all about the ring. I'll keep going. First team All Pros, 0 for Brady, 2 for Patrick Mahomes. Super Bowls, 3 for Brady, 2
All
for
the knockers.
Mahomes. Their records, Patrick Mahomes has a lot more wins to 64 to 48 for Brady, but I think that's because there's just more regular season games now, to be fair. You're playing a lot of
Yeah,
this.
I mean that's only been one more season,
Yeah.
2 seasons of that.
Um, Regular season passing TDs, Brady had 97. Patrick Mahomes
Mahomes,
is 192.
which is ridiculous.
Regular season passing yards, 13,925 for Brady, 24,241 for Mahomes.
Yeah.
I have to pose the question, like, is he on that trajectory? Can he actually get to the
Well, he
levels?
has to be at this moment. Like it's ridiculous. Um, he's definitely on that trajectory. I think he could quite easily get the touchdowns record. He's already on nearly 200, which is just crazy. That's like, was he been he's been a starter for 5 seasons, and he's got nearly 200. He's got how many even is that a season? That's like 40 a season, isn't it?
I think so. It must be. Yeah,
So yeah, he's definitely on the trajectory. Whether he'll last as long, who knows? Um,
that's true. Because some of Tom Brady's best work came in his later years between 30, the decade between 30 and 40, and then
yeah,
obviously you won.
and also like the game was very different in the early, like in the 2000s. Um, you didn't see like massive throwing games or, especially and the Patriots were never like that.
No.
The Patriots had never been just like a full flown like wide receiver offense. They probably had that for a couple of seasons when Randy Moss was there, but apart from that, they do a bit of everything. Don't tend to throw the ball far. Um, so you can understand why it's happened. But I mean, if he stays with the Chiefs and the Chiefs play that kind of football for the next 10, 15 years, he's definitely there.
I think Andy Reid has a big part of it as well. He's probably one of the best NFL coaches
Yeah.
of all time. You could possibly argue.
Now
Yeah,
two and two in Super Bowls,
exactly.
which is pretty sick.
And he's the guy that the big play caller for all of these plays that Patrick Mahomes is succeeding on, and
Yeah.
obviously Kelsey as well. And you did think that when the Chiefs lost Tyreek Hill, do you think they're losing a big part of their offense? But
Hmm.
they've got even better, you could argue, without him.
I mean, Travis Kelsey is on trajectory to kind of be the best tight end of all time as well.
Exactly.
To beat Gronk, like
There are a lot of
that was
comparisons, isn't
just
there?
ridiculous.
There are a lot of comparisons between.
Yeah, definitely. Just their versatility, in playing, kind of doing everything.
So the off season is incredibly long in the NFL world. So there's another 6, 7 months of just waiting around. Obviously, you got the
So
NFL draft and you got the free agency. You've also got the XFL. To be fair,
XFL started.
do you follow a team or do you just
Not
keep
yet. I haven't even looked at any of it yet. I keep forgetting that it's on.
the last bit of NFL news? Did you see um, that video of DK Metcalf just jumping and catching
Yeah,
up? Is that real or fake?
it's obviously fake.
You think it's fake?
It's obviously fake, but I think he got like sent for a drug test afterwards for
Straight
that
up.
video. It's quite clearly he's jumping like 6 foot in the air. Like nobody can do that. But no,
I
it's
thought that was
great.
quite funny.
Absolutely great.
Cricket, England have been dominant again in Test match cricket, completely beating New Zealand. Bazball, Stokes ball, whatever you want to call it, it's here to stay. And I think the big story from the first Test is Jimmy Anderson and Stuart Broad. To be fair, they became the highest Test wicket taking pair, so the most prolific
Beating
pair.
Shane Warne and Glenn McGrath.
Yeah, that's right. And also recently, I think over the past day or two, the latest ICC rankings have come out, and 40-year-old Jimmy Anderson
Mm.
is number one
He's
test
on
bowler
top of
in
the
the world.
world. He's on top of the world again.
What do you make of
For the
that? How?
sixth time, I think. Like, it's mad that he's. I mean, he took 7 wickets in this test. He's taking it at a better economy than he ever has done. I think he's also being used very smartly. So they'll have like possibly 3 tests. He probably won't play the second test.
Mhm.
He'll play 1 or 2 tests at a time. He doesn't bowl particularly long spells.
No, that's right.
So he'll bowl kind of with Stuart Broad to open the bowling. He'll come off after like 3 overs, and then they'll bowl quite a few without him, and then he'll come back on for a
Come back
few.
on.
So I think they're being clever with how they're using him and getting the best out of him, um, because he's bowling some of his best stuff, which is ridiculous because he's not particularly the fastest.
No, he's not. No.
He bowls around maybe at 83 miles an hour, 83 to 88 miles an hour, um, which is obviously fast, but in terms of World Test cricket, pace bowlers isn't the fastest.
No.
But it's just the way he bowls is just so elegant, and the swing he gets, the way he places the ball is so precise.
Mhm.
Yeah, I could watch him bowl all day.
England's like their tactics are just pinpoint every time. Like the way they declared on 300 and something odd, and people were like, hang on, that's not a good enough score. But they got New Zealand into bat
We've got
in
took
the
3 wickets.
yeah in the evening session, and the pink ball just did bits like and
Yeah,
just took wickets. Like that tactics is spot on. And
yeah,
also, I find it hilarious that they've also one of their tactics when England are batting, they've now got this position called a night hawk. So instead of a night watchman where you would just
yeah,
block and see off the rest of the day, they've got a night hawk who goes out and just tries to smash the ball
yeah.
as far as
I think
possible,
it's great.
which I think
It's
is great.
it's exciting to watch. Every England test is exciting to watch at the moment. Um, I think the batting's probably it's not even like the best bit. Like the bowling is sick.
Mhm.
Either way, when you have somebody kind of when they're all coming together, they're all bowling well, all batting well. There's nothing you can do wrong. I think it's just such a shame that we're not in the running for the Test Championship this year.
We'd smash it, mate.
Because honestly, at the moment,
Actually,
you couldn't put it past us that we wouldn't smash it. I think India would be our biggest rivals at the moment. Um, so yeah, I think so, well, somebody I work with, he's gone to New Zealand this week and he's going to the test on Friday.
I love that.
Watch a
That's
bit
it.
of it. So
That's it.
it's to see Jimmy Anderson live. Well, to be fair, he probably won't play in this one.
Yeah,
As
yeah,
I was, as I was just saying, he probably won't play in this one. But still,
and
um,
it's just mad exciting for the Ashes though coming up. Like what England selectors, who are you going to choose? You'd rotate them obviously, but for the first test, Jofra Archer's back, Mark
mm,
Wood, Stuart Broad, Jimmy Anderson, Ollie Robinson. Like who? Like this?
you've got 5 pace bowlers. You could take all of them.
You could
I
take
mean, you
all.
could do what did you do last time? Didn't take a spinner at all. We
Yeah,
had
did
only had pace bowlers, so it's not something we haven't done. Um, but yeah, it's a selection nightmare. You've got Zach Crawley, who's actually playing well
Ben
somehow.
Ben Duckett as well. He's
Ben
in.
Duckett come out of nowhere, not come out of nowhere, but he's playing sick. Ollie Pope, sick.
Yeah.
Um, Joe Root just plodding along. Like he's playing like his cricket, which is great cricket. But because everyone's smashing out the park, his looks kind of
Average.
underperforming, which is ridiculous because he's still scoring like 70 odd runs. Um, yeah, it's mad. It's mad.
Also, shout out Ben Folkes as well. I've
Yeah.
rated him so highly. He's probably one of the best wicketkeeper batsmen there are, and he always seems to deliver.
Mm.
Um, yeah, who else? Who is the one guy that's smashing it at the minute that I'm missing?
Harry Brook.
Harry Brook, Harry
Harry
Brook,
Brook.
Harry Brook. There you go. You got player of the match as well, Harry Brook. To
He
be fair,
did. He did. He played. He's playing very well.
there you
But
go.
like, it's like these strike rates of 92, 106, 91, 131, 93, 80. Like that's a strike rate in a test match.
It's nuts.
It's stupid.
He's changing the
Like
game.
the strike rate of the New Zealand team, 55, 20, 0, 35, 56, 10. Like it's all under 50.
But
And
no one's
England is basically all over. Like, oh my God, their first innings, like Zach Crawley was, yeah, he got 4 runs, but 123 strike rate by Ben Duckett, 64, 63, 109. They're all over 50. That's a
crazy.
disgusting thing to see. Like the fact that they can score 325 runs in what was it, 3 sessions, two
Yeah,
sessions?
yeah. It's just craziness. Like, and no one's got an answer for it. You cannot play standard slow run rate cricket at the minute
No.
because you're going to
Well,
get
there's
these.
325 runs in 58 overs, whereas New Zealand hit 306 runs in 82 and a half overs. Right, that's just, it doesn't make any sense. The
Yeah,
fact that they do that. 374 runs in 70, again, less overs than New Zealand. It's just mind-boggling.
it is mental. It's absolute
I'm
craziness,
still
and
trying to get my head around the way we play Test cricket at the moment. I'm just excited for the Ashes because
it's
this is probably the most excited I can be for the Ashes in a
in a
long
long
time.
time. Yeah, me too. Me too. And it's making a game that can be slow and boring if you're not into it, like extremely exciting.
Mm.
It's changing the game for sure. Um, yeah, and we'll see what happens in the next test. I think that's pretty much the end of the podcast or end of the stuff that I have to talk about. I know that there's Jake Paul, Tommy Fury this weekend, Sam's favorite, so we'll see what happens there.
I hope Tommy Fury knocks them out. I just can't.
I hope so too, man. And this needs to end. This whole
It honestly does. It just needs to end. I understand. Like, Jake Paul can obviously box. He's a much better boxer than I will ever be, or quite a few people will ever be. Um, if he wants to go pro, he can go pro. That's absolutely fine. But just the stuff he comes out with, to like Canelo, and it's just why.
just
Or like, did he call out Carl Froch, I think, as well?
car for
It's like these guys will beat the shit out. Like,
will.
I understand you're fighting boxers, some of them. Like Tommy Fury is the most boxer person he could fight at the moment. But if he had to fight like Carl Froch or anyone like that, he's getting the shit kicked out of him.
He is, yeah.
Surely.
I know Carl Froch is retired, but he's not long retired, and he was like
No,
two-time champion or whatever weight class he was.
yeah.
Um, so yeah, it's yeah. Hopefully we can put this to bed now. This whole entertainment boxing thing can just sort of die down a little bit. Just sort of calm it.
Wait,
Um,
Salt Pappy's coming.
Salt Pappy, yeah. To be fair, he's actually a baller. To be fair,
Yeah.
I'd watch his fight again. Uh, but yeah, that's it. Any sports news from you, or should we move on to any shockers or heroes of the
Oh,
week?
I don't think so. Um,
Full Swing is out on your Netflix now. I need to watch that.
yeah, I saw that, and I saw, how in Drive to Survive, every 5 minutes, what do they always say? There's like the most obvious thing, like the better you qualify, you start the race at the front. It's like, well, obviously, well, apparently in the cricket, in the golf one, but every 5 minutes, they're basically saying if you miss the cut, you don't get paid. If you miss the cut, you don't get paid. That cut means you don't get paid. Um,
Oh my
that's the
god.
only bit of those documentaries that gets annoying, but love to see a documentary. I love to see Rory McIlroy and Patrick Reed. Their rivalry is, I'm loving it.
It's good. Yeah.
Patrick Reed went up to Rory McIlroy to say hi, just blanked him completely, and then he threw a tea at his head. Just love the pettiness. Absolutely love it. Oh, the Patrick Reed's one of the most dislikable people in golf. Anyway, like he cheated the other week. He hit the ball into a tree, told the marshals that he could see his ball. That's definitely his ball, even though on the camera. So basically, if you hit it into the tree, you have to basically be able to identify that that is your ball. So you get like a free drop or something.
Mhm.
Um, but obviously he didn't bring out his ball to say I've got the same markings or anything like that. He just said that's my ball. And then from the camera positions, the replay, it went into a completely different tree.
God's sake.
It was like, why are you lying?
Don't they have a
That's
caddy
not
for
your
like that?
ball.
So
Hmm?
like, isn't a caddy's job to spot the ball as well? Or do they have a caddy in that
No,
aspect?
there's people down the range, like down the range that will find the ball.
Jesus.
Um, but yeah, so I don't like Patrick Reed. Um, but
It's
there's
always
been a lot of talk, obviously, about Tiger Woods handing Jordan Spieth a tampon at the golf the other week.
that was that like a bit of banter between the boys or something?
Yeah, exactly. There's obviously a lot of people saying that's a bad thing. Like, it, there's nothing like obviously it's meant in obviously a way saying like you're a bit shit or you're playing like a girl, which obviously people have a intense thing about. But I think it was a bit of banter. I mean, I don't think he meant it in any way that it was
No,
degrading to women.
no.
Obviously, he's done things in his past that may have been degrading to women. I'm going to put that out there, but
I think it's
he's not um, painted himself in a great light in his way of treatment of women. But um, I think that in terms of on the golf course wasn't the worst thing
I think it's difficult when you're a professional sports person, especially when you're Tiger Woods. Everything you do is going to be scrutinized. So there's nothing, you know, if you're going to try and secretly hand someone a tampon, yeah, that might be banter, and most people perceive that as banter, but that will get picked up by the camera, like for sure. Someone's going to spot that, and then they're going to twist it into a story. So, yeah, you got to just, I guess, you got to be careful what you do, what you don't do. So, um, yeah. Right. Any shockers or heroes of the week, or any
My hero is going to be Jimmy Anderson getting to number 1 in the world again because
fair
we
play?
mentioned that. Not Pat Cummins off his perch. He's had that
I
before.
would have to agree. Also, an honourable mention, an incredible volley from Nunes for Norwich against Birmingham. You have to watch it. Corner comes in or a free kick, gets headed out, and he hits it first time on the volley. Keeper is rooted to the spot. Yeah, incredible goal.
Oh, that is
Catches it
whipped in as well.
flush. Catches it flush. Any shockers of the week? Anyone that's had a bit of a howler or anyone?
I mean, you could probably both Allison and
You could say
Courtois
you could
yesterday.
say that. Um, Chelsea banter FC is obviously one. They've got fans arguing on Twitter against each other now. But I did see Nick Kyrgios is a guy that divides opinion. I do like him to be fair, but this has got to be shock of the week. He's decided that he's going to play in the French Open this year, purely on the basis that his girlfriend wants to go to Paris. That's what he's made this decision. His girlfriend
I
wants to go to
mean,
Paris. So you're going, oh, okay, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna
I
play.
feel like he could go to Paris anyway.
He doesn't
I
have to
mean,
play.
he's not particularly strapping for cash. Um, sometimes I feel like he says things just for a headline.
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
Um, he obviously is a great tennis player, and but he does say a lot of shit.
He does say a lot of nonsense sometimes.
And
Um,
also, everyone that's been kind of shown on that Breaking Point series has basically done shit.
yeah, I think one I think only one player that was featured on that show made it past like the first round or something like that. Just the Netflix curse.
Yeah.
But there's a second part to it which comes out. I don't know when it comes out. Maybe March time. Um,
They need to get Murray on this.
they do.
Um, for just not just for the Australian, like he saved 3 match points the other day again.
Didn't he beat Zverev recently? I thought he beat
He beat
Zverev.
Ferrer.
I think he beat
I
Zverev.
think he beat Senego.
I think he beat Zverev. Was it yesterday or the day before? In
He
like a
did indeed. Fucking hell, I didn't even know that.
yeah, and that again was a bit of a classic. I think it was only three sets, but I think
76, 6-2, 6-5. So yeah, 7-5. So he had to Jesus Christ, I'm gonna watch those highlights in a second. But I mean, Alexander Zverev, he's so up and down. He's
yeah,
an
what is
unbelievable
going
player.
on?
Like, he's number 4 in the world, but he has times when he's just shit. So
Absolutely shit.
he's just shit. Like he won the ATP finals, um, and like he's been he's beaten Djokovic on a number of occasions. Just anywhere else in these other, he's just shit. I don't get it. I do not get it. He won gold medal in the bloody Olympics. Like, but he's
Crazy.
shit.
Just shit still. Well, on that note, we'll wrap it up.
Stop shitting the bed, Alexander Cicero.
Just shit. Yeah, we'll catch you again next week or the week after, or whenever anything big happens. We'll probably, hopefully, we'll get one out either before the start of the F1 season or after the first race because that'll be interesting to cover. But yeah, enjoy the weekend of sport, and we'll catch you again next time in a
See
bit.
you.